12 months ago, I asked the Prime Minister, was he adding 1.5 million people from overseas during a rental and housing crisis and a cost of living challenge? The Prime Minister denied that that was the case. Tuesday's budget revealed these problems have only worsened, and now around 1.7 million people are coming into our country when building activity is at an 11-year low. Will the Prime Minister admit that his weak leadership and bad decisions over 3 budgets have made it harder for Australians to buy or to rent a home?
Call to the Prime Minister.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. Of course, we inherited a broken migration system from those opposites. And the migration system
Minister for Home Affairs
that the Leader of the Opposition talks about is under the system that he presided over. What we are doing is fixing the system. In the words of Dr Parkinson, who did the review, this is a 10-year rebuild. This is not something you do quickly because it is so badly broken. It was a deliberate decision to neglect the system. We had also the report from Christine Nixon, who found that systemic failures in the visa system under the Leader of the Opposition's watch paved the way for foreign organised crime syndicates, including the Albanian Mafia, to infiltrate the country and engage in illicit activities such as drug trafficking, money laundering, violence, modern slavery, sexual exploitation and corruption. The former Deputy Secretary of the Immigration Department indeed found that Abdul Rizvi, in total there were between 100,000 and 120,000 asylum applications
Prime
lodged.
Minister, just will pause. I heard what the Leader of the Opposition was interjecting then. The Prime Minister, I'm listening carefully, is reading direct reports regarding the question he was asked at, and these reports are recent reports. They're not something to do with the comparison, so just ask the Prime Minister to be heard in silence.
Mr Speaker, in total there were between 100,000 and 120,000 asylum applications lodged while Dutton was in charge. This is by far the largest number of asylum applications under any immigration minister in our history. Dennis Richardson also did a review, the former ASIO Director-General, someone who's widely respected.
Prime Minister will pause. The member for Moreton will cease interjecting. The Minister for Home Affairs will cease interjecting. The Leader of the Opposition has the call on a point of order.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. The question was about the migration intake and housing for Australians. Can the Prime Minister defend what was in his budget last night?
Order. No. I'm listening extremely carefully to the Prime Minister on this one, trust me. He is reading from direct reports from different reviews regarding the question he was asked about the decisions that he has taken. So that was the question, part of the question as well. So of course he's going to be directly relevant. If he was reading a report from 20 years ago, if he was reading a report from 5 years ago, he wouldn't be relevant because he's being asked about decisions that have been taken. If he strays into territory regarding comparisons or contrast, he won't be able to do that because the question was specific about the decisions that the government's taken. On the further point of order.
Well, to your ruling, Mr Speaker, the question was, will the Prime Minister admit that his weak leadership and bad decisions over 3 budgets have made it harder for Australians to buy or rent a home? How can he be in order when he has no relevance to that question?
I'll tell you how it's being relevant, because he was asked also about the 12 months remarks that he made in your first part of the question, and I just want to repeat to the Leader of the Opposition, it's not an opportunity to repeat the question. So the Prime Minister has the call.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. I'm proud of the time when I was a minister in the past, and it's no wonder that the Leader of the Opposition's embarrassed by his performance. Dennis Richardson said this.
Order.
He spoke about a lack of proper due diligence, resulting in public money being handed to individuals and businesses suspected of seeking to circumvent US sanctions against Iran, money laundering, bribery, drugs and arms smuggling into Australia and corruption. Now, we inherited a broken migration system and we're working to fix it. Under our government, net overseas migration is on track to halve next year. We've announced we will limit international student numbers. At the same time, we know that we have skills shortages in our economy, so we're ensuring that our migration settings are meeting Australia's needs in areas like nursing, aged care and construction. The opposition should be clear about where their cuts will come from and what it means for business and for our economy.